here. Welcome to Dazzlius, learning the language of autism. Okay, so it's just a quick video, just a quick link in really to say hi and thinking today about all the support that I've needed. Being a parent on her own adds to it, I admit, but just knowing how much help I just need for me. I have an autistic son, as some of you all already know. So there's kind of like through this, self-isolation, obviously I still need to get shopping and stuff like that, and I can't get online shopping for love nor money. All their delivery slots are full, and I'm just trying to keep myself away from shops as much as I possibly can. My boy doesn't like going into supermarkets, so he would always stay in the car, but the queues being so long and shopping taking a lot longer, I don't really like leaving him in the car for too long. You know, he's 14, but I still don't like leaving him in the car for very long, so it just adds to more anxiety and stress, and I'm just trying to keep him away from any, risks and stuff there for me too. And I was just thinking about all the other families out there of autistic kids and also autistic adults, people that are living, on their own, and how they're coping. So really this video is about me saying or asking anyone who, do you know anyone who's autistic? Do you know any autistic adults in your community? Do you know of any mums, dads, families that have got autistic kids through school or work or wherever? And, maybe they need some help, maybe they need a bit of support, maybe they need somebody to go shopping for them, maybe they need you to call someone for them, maybe you could contact, an agency, Action for Children, or the carers organisation, or a relative. If you do know anybody that's autistic, even if you don't know them personally, but you know of them when you see them around the street, or you see them around your community, or at work or at school, but you don't necessarily know them to talk to them, if I'm just putting it out there that now's the time to kind of if you know where they live, you could either knock or put a note through the door and just ask them if they're okay and if they need any help with anything at all, and obviously only ask if you can help. And maybe put your name and leave your telephone number and invite them, say, it's perfectly fine if you text me, because sometimes making a phone call, if you're autistic, is quite difficult to speak on the phone, especially to a stranger. Not for everybody, but just for some, and that might be a reason why. So if you just say, oh, give me a call, maybe just specify, text me or call me or message me, put a note, anything at all. And then maybe be specific about the kind of help that you can give. So if you can give help by going shopping for them, say that. If you can call somebody for them, say that you're willing to do that. Say what it is, specify exactly what it is that you are able to help with, so that gives more clarity and more of a guideline for that person to know whether or not they can actually contact you, because it might take a lot of effort, a lot of courage to be able to do that in the first place. They may be desperate for help, but just really anxious about asking for it. So really, and if you know of any parents, families, it's worth asking them too. It could be that they've already got help and everything's okay, but just a nice time to ask people in your community or people that you know of, or just ask around, if you work with people that are autistic and you speak to some of your work colleagues on the phone or through meetings online or whatever during this isolation period, and just say, oh, have you heard from blah de blah blah, you know, do we know if they're okay? Because sometimes silence doesn't mean everything's okay. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. So that's my kind of request today. It's just being mindful of if you know anyone at all who's autistic or looking after somebody that is autistic, just to reach out and offer them some help. I've been receiving help from Action for Children and our social worker, like Powers Carers, obviously friends, family have been really supportive over the phone, just, you know, just lots of love and just speaking to people on FaceTime. Somebody from Action for Children today went and got our shopping for us, which was amazing. So there is help out there. It's just that if the autistic adults, particularly that are living on their own, aren't aware of help that could be available to them, then it might be worth, you know, that's why it's worth asking, because then you can maybe be a mediator. You could perhaps be someone that could make that call to an agency on behalf of that autistic person, and you could kind of specify that as well if you put a note through the door, or because if you knock at the door and you don't get an answer, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not in, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't need help. Often just inviting them to send a text is probably the best way, because then that's, they haven't got to pick up the phone and speak to you, which can be quite difficult if you're already anxious, and some autistic people find it really difficult to request things on the phone and to actually have that conversation on the phone. Some can, some can't, so just saying. Okay, I will keep doing some videos during this time. They're very different, but everything's different. So if you want to use this, you know, post this video on the comments to share, or to use it as a sounding board, or to offer help or suggestions, or if you do need help, you can write it on here and I can see if I can pass it on to anyone or someone else. Just see if we can create some kind of like trading post of offering of help or receiving help. That would be fantastic. Okay, well, stay safe and lots of love. Bye for now.